If you're a parent and you love your kids and you want your kids to be successful in life, do not expose them to religion. Do everything within your power to shield them from religion. Religion has a way of making people mentally lazy. Once a person is exposed to religion, they become brain dead. Their critical thinking abilities is killed. They cannot analyze simple phenomena that is happening around their environment because everything that seems to be surprising or a little bit confusing to them, they ascribe it to God. God becomes a cheap answer for anything that they don't really understand. If they see a burning bush, they will not try to analyze that if this bush is burning, probably someone set it on fire. All they will think about is, this is the work of God. Once they see the slightest thing that seems to look extraordinary in their eyes, they will not try to go to the depth of trying to understand what phenomenon must have caused this. All they think about is, this is God. It is the hand of God. And this is one of the reasons why no major technological innovation has come out of Africa. Because in Africa, we are too God conscious. We don't do scientific research. We don't even analyze things that happen around us. Everything we see that looks a little bit out of the ordinary, we just conclude it is coming from God. Even if there are simple phenomena that we could study them and analyze them and maybe use them to enhance our lives, we just conclude that it is God. So once you identify with a religion, you cannot think beyond God. You stop your reasoning at God. God becomes your landing point. For anything that you don't understand, anything you can't explain, you conclude that it is the work of God. And this is why we cannot develop. Any country made up of citizens who can't think beyond God can never emerge. An African will see a mountain spitting out fire as in a volcanic eruption. And instead of going to study what scientific phenomenon is going on underneath the surface for this mountain to be spitting out fire, they will just say it is the wrath of God. God is angry. That is why this mountain is spitting out fire. This is a sign from God. That is why a religious person will see a rainbow in the sky. And instead of asking a question, what phenomenon is causing this rainbow to exist? They will tell you that it is God who put it up in the sky. That is how we kill scientific research in Africa. We will be experiencing flood in our community. Instead of studying what is the cause of this flood, what can we do in order to mitigate the damages of this natural disaster, we will just say it is the wrath of God. God is angry with us because we have failed to do something or we have done something we were not supposed to be doing. That is why we are experiencing this flood. Other civilizations don't think that way. Once you are in the Western world, if there is a flood here, they send their scientists. People think. They come and analyze, how does water circulate in this area? How can we adjust to mitigate further damages in the future? They think. They don't just conclude that it is the work of God. Let me tell you a story. I grew up in a little farming community where people had been living there for many years and farming. And you know, as the population is growing, they keep destroying the forest more and more because they need more farmland. So as these people are destroying the forests more and more, they forget to know that the more trees they cut down, the more they are destabilizing the water cycle because the rain that they need for their crops to grow comes from these trees. So they kept destroying acres and acres of land. Up to a certain point, they started experiencing the adverse effect of this environmental degradation. The rains became so irregular and so unstable. The preacher in that community started preaching and saying God has revealed to him that the reason why there are no rains or the rains are so irregular is because God is angry with the people. They have not been given correctly their tithes and offering. They have not been committing themselves to servicing God. They have loved their farms more than the work of God. Therefore, God is trying to teach them that He is greater than their farms. He is greater than all these things. That is why God has withheld the rains. And they went to church and started praying. Whereas the reason for their plight is just a simple natural phenomenon. Teach them to plant more trees. Let them understand. Why is it that the rain is no more regular? It is because we are not managing our environment sustainably. We have killed a lot of trees, and these trees are what cause the rains to fall. So when there are no trees, we expect no rains because trees recycle water from the earth into the atmosphere. But when we distort this water cycle, there will be no rains. But we concluded, and people were praying, that God should send down rains. That is how religion makes people dumb. The mistake our parents did is that they exposed our generation to religion at a very young age, and this corrupted our thinking. We were not able to amount to anything in life. We lived life on the basis of mythology. Things that we could not understand, things we could not explain, we ascribed them to God. We want to change this. Do not expose your children to religion. Allow them to grow and explore the world. Do not give them cheap answers. Let them observe their environment, arrive at their own conclusions. This is the only way you are going to unleash their brain power, and we are going to see scientific and technological innovations begin to emerge from Africa. Think about this.